Okay, so we just got a huge update on Starfield, and this update is big and a big deal for a couple of different reasons. On one hand, we just get to see more Todd Howard and hear him, as well as several other Bethesda Game Studios employees, actually talk about Starfield, their vision of it, the design of some elements. We get a ton of absolutely phenomenal looking concept art. I think this is actually the single largest concept art dump we've gotten thus far. I know though, breaking down and looking at all of that is going to make up the bulk of this video. The third and other major consideration is what this is all coming from is this new series called Into the Starfield, and it is Into the Starfield Episode 1. For a while now, Bethesda has been giving us little tidbits of Starfield info via their Constellation Log series. Most of the times this is a minute long or even 30 seconds at times, and they'll release a few videos totaling a minute or two in length. This time we got a full 7-minute video when it's just Episode 1. This makes it seem like we're going to be getting more of this. Bethesda, Todd Howard, everyone involved is going to be talking more Starfield and releasing official teaser content like this. That's something to get incredibly hyped over. We're just 7 months away now from when an official reveal will probably be at E3 2022 in June, so I wouldn't be shocked if every month or every 2 months we get more information on Starfield. The countdown is really now kicking into high gear as we have under a year to go until we'll actually be able to play this game. But first, looking at what Bethesda Game Studios actually had to say about Starfield and its development, and then we'll dive into the concept art, and trust me, there's a lot to unpack with that concept art. They describe how they all sort of know and get what a Bethesda game is at this point, and many people at the studio have been working together for a very long time. They're still able to maintain what a BGS game is, but they want to evolve off of that. So it should have that familiar identity with some significant advancements. Some of the mechanics of this world are going to be different, but there'll be carryovers. They mention things like you'll still be able to touch and interact with all of the objects. That's a staple of Bethesda games. I'm very happy that's staying here. It's still playing first person. Woo, first person confirmed. And you can still sit there and watch the world go by, whether it be the sunset or the world overall. Todd Howard describes how defying gravity and taking off from a planet is an extremely difficult human endeavor, and how around that, many Bethesda Game Studios games are about exploration. The ultimate form of exploration is what is actually beyond Earth, and as a result, a core aspect of Starfield is going to be this next level exploration, looking at space, exploring space, and really asking what is out there. Todd Howard describes how Bethesda games have that step out moment, the easy example being leaving the vault in Fallout, and how Starfield actually has 2 step out moments. I think there's 2 major ways to look at this. On one hand, it's probably just the first actual moment of the game after you finish the character creator, when you first get full open entry on a space station or a city, wherever you start off this game. But I would imagine the second one of that is one of 2 things. Either A, after you actually get your first spaceship and are able to just explore space. I imagine you'll be able to kind of just go wherever you want with that ship, and the only restrictions will be other people trying to take you down, or maybe fuel or other costs. So I could see both of those being the big step out moments, or alternatively, the second one being around this portal we see heavily represented. Assuming this even is a portal, it's a big point of speculation right now, but perhaps going through this portal could naturally be that second step out moment, and perhaps even happens later in the game, giving you a completely different landscape or several landscapes via planets to explore. As we've heard several times, and now is actually reiterated here, Starfield's going to have a realistic science-based backing to it. It's a grounded game and a grounded setting about exploration. People at Bethesda Game Studios have a lot of real-world knowledge about this stuff, and that is a huge component in development, whether it be in engineering, thermodynamics, etc. And on a high level, they've concepted a lot of this game, whether it be what the people are actually eating, and we actually get images of that, the toys kids are playing with, what the bedtime stories sound like. And they go on to say they really underestimate how long people actually play these games, and even explicitly mention how Bethesda Game Studios games almost have 2 lives. The original world created by Bethesda and you playing it as they intended, and then the secondary one as you start to mod it using the tools they have created. And they explicitly did say that. This gives me more and more hope that official mod tools will be something we get early on with Starfield. They've been talking a lot about mod tools in the build up to this game, and it definitely seems like it's something they haven't forgotten about. Now, looking over at the concept art, which is easily the most exciting part of this whole info dump overall, we start off with a station shot, and it looks like a field station on a planet of some kind. We do have a glimpse of the planet itself outside of the window. You have a sign with other sections of the station with an A2 designation. I imagine going through these will be a major part of the game. Constellation, which is what we're a part of, are are explorers. So it seems pretty natural that as we are exploring, we'll be going to what are fundamentally explorer bases pretty often, perhaps even establishing our own using some kind of advanced settlement system. Some of the leaked images we saw showed very modular looking settlement-esque building objects. I could see actually constructing something like this for ourselves being a part of the game. I think that could actually be pretty cool and hopefully actually optional. This image of the ship in space looks phenomenal, and honestly it's one of the most real or close to an in-game looking shots they have as far as the concept art goes. I don't think it actually is an in-game shot, but it looks really good. On the ship, it looks like it might have 2 probes attached at the end. Definitely seems like a medium-sized ship overall, fit for multiple people. It also looks really different compared to many of the other ships we have seen thus far, even just the one from the original trailer. This one looks way more modular. Spaceships in general tend to be pretty modular because they literally have attachment points. But out of all of the ships we've seen thus far, to me, this one really represents that the most. And it does make me wonder if we will have the ability to customize these spaceships ourselves, be able to actually buy multiple spaceships ourselves. One of my favorite shots from the whole thing is another completely different ship, and you can see this one doesn't look nearly as modular, and it looks like the ship is landed on a moon of some kind or a more unexplored surface. This is very clearly not a space station. We just kind of landed somewhere. You can see the Stellaris naming on this one. Though I love this image, there really isn't a whole ton to say about it. A completely different ship design. This one is pretty thick, and just overall it looks like there's going to be a large degree of diversity in various ships that will pop up in this world. They show us some of their crew designs and almost process of actually designing the airlocks in this game. They showed this when they were talking about some of their real world knowledge influencing game design itself. It almost looks like you have a few in-game shots of these airlocks also, which is pretty cool. Nice to see this, but honestly not a whole ton to break down from the airlock scenes. And then what is probably the crudest piece of the concept art we get out of all of this is also one of the most interesting, because this image really reminds me of Skyrim. You can see things like the stone walls, so this is clearly on land somewhere. You're not on a space station and probably not even one of those highly advanced cities. This looks like it has a completely different art style. You can see a hunting rifle on the side, an image of what is likely one of those big cities, probably an aspiration, somewhere this person thinks about, but not where they're actually located. But it almost makes it feel like this is one of those less advanced locations, or not a fully colonized planet. Somebody went here and built a stone house to live in. We saw this place called Aquila earlier on, this walled in settlement, and on the outside of those walls are some kind of dangers. It's not like people here have a full control on what happens on this planet. They have their own safe space. Reminds me a lot of that, and seeing this image compared to some of the other ones, even the next one we'll look at, really showcases just the overall diversity in locations. You have this really quiet or simple looking dwelling compared to some highly advanced locations we've seen otherwise. There's this pretty simple close-up shot of the spacesuit. Not a lot to break down here. We've seen the spacesuit numerous times now, although it almost does look like there's a sidearm on his back here. We have some food-related items. We could see how stackable food kits are neatly dispersed, and they even have some magnetically attached utensils. Also, worms. Not sure if those are real worms or gummy worms. Probably real worms, so we'll probably be eating worms at some point in Starfield, and all of this is pretty cool to establish the world overall, but not a ton to pick apart from them. But then, as I showed you before, a shot with a lot going on, this actual space station. You can see it's space based off the window, not to mention the actual design and what the people are wearing. And really just thinking about the difference between this place and that other place I showed you before is pretty astonishing. Just the diversity of landscapes, as I keep mentioning, seems immense and completely insane. Unlike really any other game we've seen, if some of this concept art actually is representative of what we have in game. And also pet cats confirmed for Starfield, maybe. The robot seems awesome. It's a cowboy hat wearing robot with a pink fuzzy backpack that absolutely seems like one of those things where you could customize the robot, and this is just how some people are going to customize him. Definitely gives you station helper vibes, or some recruitable companion, or somebody you could recruit to stay at your home. This does prompt a pretty interesting question and concept. Perhaps like in the Outer Worlds, our ship will be upgradable and configurable, but also act as a central player home. Maybe you could recruit robots to live there. Maybe you could have kids live there, or maybe that's just what's shown here. This image embodies that homey vibe. Like, these people are living out of this spaceship or space station, and it's kind of what their permanent residence is. But then on the complete opposite side, we have a frontier-like ice planet with freaking rovers. We're seeing lots of vehicles in this one, and rovers seem like it would be a natural fit in this world. In this particular concept art drop, we haven't actually seen like a ton of landscapes, but in the past we have. And this looks like another completely new distinctive locations, and that stack of locations Bethesda has shown off for Starfield now is starting to get pretty large. There's this crystal cave also, and it's not really clear where this is. It almost seems like it could be an interior location from that previous shot. And then lastly, something that I know many people love, we actually get a short video of some Vasco animations. Vasco, of course, being shown off during the trailer, and it's always nice to see more of Vasco. Overall, I really love this video. I think there was a lot to unpack with it. There's probably going to be a lot of unpacking people are doing over the next couple of days, whether it be breaking down all of the various spaceships we saw or even some of those interior shots. I'm excited for Starfield and these little teaser videos, even though they are so high level in a way. We're still just dealing with concept art, the overall design, not really specifics of the game yet. They're still doing a great job at building my hype, and I'm very excited to continue covering this. Hopefully you guys found this one informative. If you notice anything from these images or the quotes, let me know in the comments. I'd definitely love to hear from you. And also an F in the comments for the dislike bar. With that said, as always, again, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.